Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Live at 4 on this Monday. Susan Simon is on vacation this week. Charlotte DeLeste has agreed to fill in.
Of course.
Here's the schedule.
Here's your contract. Please sign.
It's good to have you.
It's lovely to be here.
And it's a lovely day today.
It is.
But it's also a very busy news day, so let's get started. Here's what's making news on this Monday. The stage is set for what could be an historic meeting in the next few hours as President Donald Trump and North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un meet one-on-one.
We have an update on the plane crash in Monroe that killed 4 people. Investigators say it will take some time to determine just exactly what happened.
And your ability to watch and use your favorite apps and services could start changing. The Obama-era internet protections ended today.
Another thing to worry about.
Another thing, add it
to the list.
The weather, nothing to worry about, at least right now.
That's
beautiful,
nice
day today, and here we have some
we
Sky
should
3
be there.
video.
Beautiful.
Is this Mendota?
Yep.
Marshall Park, the north shore of Lake Mendota. Beautiful day. We can't complain.
Best weather words ever.
Gary Canalti is in the backyard. We don't need any more rain for a while.
No, we don't. I mean, there's still some chances for rain, but as temperatures go up, especially toward the weekend, the rain chances may go down. But before that happens, we'll still face a threat for a shower or thunderstorm in spots. You can see out to the west, lots of clouds across Minnesota. Iowa's starting to clear out, and there could be some strong thunderstorms there. Much of Wisconsin saw sunshine today. We've got some clouds moving into the southern part of the state, but they're not very thick and not bringing any precipitation here. But out to the west, where those skies are clearing in Iowa, some big-time thunderstorms are starting to develop, and a tornado watch has been issued for western Iowa until 11 p.m. But right now, it looks like our threat for thunderstorms will be late tonight into tomorrow. Those storms will be weakening as they push into slightly more stable air here, so there's no severe weather threat for tonight. Low temperatures this morning started out around 60 degrees. We'll see similar temperatures for tomorrow morning. Current temperatures are in the low to mid 70s, a few places into the mid to upper 70s. It is a little cooler near Lake Michigan thanks to an easterly wind off of the lake. But dew point temperatures are higher the farther west you go. That's where the atmosphere becomes more unstable. There's more moisture to fuel those thunderstorms back into Minnesota and Iowa. And so we'll still stay relatively humid for another day or so before a cold front comes through and drops the humidity, at least for a little bit. Otherwise, look for temperatures to drop off into the lower to middle 60s by early tomorrow morning. Could even be some patchy areas of fog, just a slight chance for a shower or thunderstorm overnight. Tomorrow, look for a variably cloudy day. It'll be warm and humid. A chance for a shower or thunderstorm. High temperature topping out at around 80 degrees. As we take a look at first alert traffic, the live view on the Beltline from the Department of Transportation camera over at John Nolan Drive, you can see traffic starting to pick up, but right now it's moving pretty steadily. Starting to see some delays in the eastbound direction near John Nolan Drive. Otherwise, much of the Beltline in pretty good shape. Some slowdowns in the construction zone on Verona Road. Interstate south and east of Madison, including I-94, I-3990 down toward Illinois. No problems there, as are the interstates north and west of Madison, also including US 151 to the northeast into Dodge County. That's your first alert traffic.
All right, looking smooth sailing at least for now.
For now.
All right, thanks, Gary. We'll see you in a few minutes.
First at 4, in just a few hours, Donald Trump will become the first sitting U.S. president to meet with the leader of North Korea.
The White House says the president and Kim Jong-un will meet alone with just their interpreters at the beginning of the historic summit. Mola Langi has the latest from the White House.
North Korean leader Kim Jong-un waved to the crowds as he took a nighttime stroll around Singapore ahead of his one-on-one meeting with President Trump. Earlier in the day, President Trump met with Singapore's president and expressed optimism about the summit.
My friend, we've got a very interesting meeting, in particular tomorrow, and I think things can work out very nicely.
Secretary of State Mike Pompeo spent part of the day with North Korean officials to lay the groundwork for the meeting.
The fact that our two leaders are sitting down face to face is a sign of the enormous potential to accomplish something that will immensely benefit both of our peoples and the entire world.
The White House says the only outcome the United States will accept is complete denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. But Secretary Pompeo avoided specifics about what the U.S. is offering North Korea in exchange.
We're prepared to take what will be security assurances that are different, unique, than have been provided, that America has been willing to provide previously.
Pompeo also said the U.S. will keep up the economic pressure until North Korea takes verified steps to dismantle its nuclear arsenal. Former NBA star Dennis Rodman, a longtime friend of the North Korean dictator, arrived in Singapore ahead of the summit.
People should not expect so much
for the first time.
The Trump administration has said Rodman has no official role in the negotiations. Mola Lengi, CBS News, the White House.
And a little later in this newscast, we'll talk to a nationally known expert on negotiations. He is publishing a new book after studying the president's negotiating style over the past 20 years. We'll hear what he expects to come out of this summit. Well, federal officials say it'll take them at least a year to figure out what caused a plane crash yesterday in Monroe.
The plane took off from Kenosha. 4 people were on board, but none of them survived. Rose Schmidt is live at the Monroe Municipal Airport where the plane was supposed to land. Rose?
Well, that plane crash happened about a half-mile north of here in some farmland outside of Monroe city limits. Federal investigators were on the scene today. The 911 calls for this plane crash came in yesterday around noon, with witnesses saying they saw a plane lose altitude and crash. First responders said the plane was fully engulfed in flames. The mayor of Monroe says this is unfortunately not the first plane crash the town has seen, but he hopes it will be the last.
I think Monroe will respond with any tragedy we've had in recent times with great support that we need to do to those families. Yeah, there is a small enough community that we care, and we'll have a great interest in helping out wherever we can.
The Greene County coroner is waiting to release the names until all family members have been notified. Now, people who live nearby this area tell us that they could not only hear that plane hit the ground yesterday, but also feel it. Coming up on News 3 at 5, we will hear from a woman who says she felt her entire house shake.
All right, we'll see you in an hour. Rose Schmidt reporting live from Monroe. Thank you.
The Beloit Police Department is investigating a former patrol officer who was arrested over the weekend for the sexual assault of a child. 62-year-old Larry Woods retired as a patrol officer from the police department in 2007. Beloit police say he has been working as a security guard with the school district of Beloit and the Beloit Public Library.
Spain has given a last-minute offer of safe haven to a stranded rescue ship with more than 600 migrants on board. The vessel spent days drifting in the Mediterranean after they were saved in several intense rescue operations off the coast of Libya. First, Italy's new anti-immigration government refused to let it dock. Then authorities on the tiny island state of Malta also denied access to the private ship. The rescued migrants include more than 100 unaccompanied minors and several pregnant women. Rescue volunteers say food and water are about to run out.
It is not comfortable at all. They are weak, tired, exhausted.
Spain has now offered to take these migrants in. Italy has taken in more than 600,000 migrants from boats since 2014.
The Supreme Court has ruled that states can clean up their voting rolls by targeting people who haven't cast ballots in a while. The justices rejected by a 5-4 vote Monday arguments in a case from Ohio that the practice violates a federal law intended to increase the ranks of registered voters.
The rollback of rules designed to protect net neutrality take effect today. The FCC says consumers will be protected, but critics fear the move could change the internet we know today. Kenneth Craig reports.
Net neutrality allowed internet users to see all websites and streaming services at the same speed. In December, the FCC voted to repeal the Obama-era regulations. Commissioner Ajit Pai told CBS This Morning the rules were keeping internet service providers from expanding their networks.
The consumer is going to be protected, and we preserve the incentive for companies to build out better, faster, cheaper internet access.
Equal access to internet. The repeal led to a public outcry, with dozens of internet companies joining in online.
The joint resolution is passed.
Democrats pushed for legislation to reverse the FCC's rollback, but the Republican-led House has yet to vote on it. Mark Stanley is with the internet advocacy group Demand Progress.
What is your biggest concern? My biggest concern is that these internet providers are going to use their power to basically block or slow down traffic or charge sites and services extra fees to reach customers.
The fear is broadband internet providers like Comcast and Verizon could charge tech companies like Netflix and Google to guarantee their services are seen in homes across the country. Critics say smaller websites that can't afford to pay would end up in the internet slow lane, making it harder for their sites to be seen. But Commissioner Pai insists consumers will be protected.
We've empowered the Federal Trade Commission to take targeted action against any bad apple in the internet economy.
Broadband companies have said they will continue to uphold net neutrality principles. Critics are concerned that won't be the case.
Kenneth Craig for WISC News 3.
And more than 20 states have joined together to sue the FCC for cutting the net neutrality rules.
Triple Crown winner Justified touched down in Louisville this morning in style en route to Churchill Downs. The winning thoroughbred was greeted with a water cannon salute as his first-class equine air travel jet landed, and before a hay and dirt carpet was rolled out to welcome only the 13th equine in history to win the coveted title. Then it was off to Churchill Downs, where the horse will spend the week before heading back to California. His breeding rights are worth more than $75 million.
It was an exciting race to watch on Saturday. Congratulations to his owners and trainer and everybody else, and to him. He did all the work. Yeah, he did. When we come back, it's being described as one of the scariest movies ever made.
And it made an impression on our film critic Will Loper. We'll find out what he thinks of Hereditary when Live at 4 continues.
Welcome back. The Old Fashioned in downtown Madison is now back open after a Friday afternoon fire.
Eric Franke joins us from the News Center with more on how the popular establishment is moving forward. Eric?
Charlotte, Mark, the calls came in just before 4 on Friday afternoon. People reported seeing black smoke in the back of the building. This is at 23 North Pinckney in downtown Madison. Firefighters arrived to find fire in the kitchen exhaust system and some smoke working its way into the attic area. That fire was out within a half hour, but some of that smoke got into adjacent buildings. Management of the restaurant emphasized safety is their top priority. No one got hurt. They will have to wait a bit, though, for some inspections to see if they need to make any changes to their equipment.
As far as improvement-wise, all of our equipment was up to date. It was recently cleaned. You know, it's up to investigators to see what needs to be replaced and redone at this point. But we're going to do whatever we need to do for our customers, our staff, and for the security of this old building.
And that staff has been cleaning 24/7. They opened the breakfast area downstairs and the upstairs area in about the last 15 minutes. They had 16 staff members cleaning things when we stopped by there this afternoon. They do hope to have the entire restaurant back open either later this week or maybe early next week. And Harvest next door, they will open up tonight at 5:30. They did sustain some of that smoke damage we mentioned. Dee Bolt wanted to thank her customers, managers as well, and the fire department for a very quick response for keeping everybody safe in the wake of that fire on Friday. Mark and Charlotte?
All right, Eric Franke reporting. Eric, thank you.
You're welcome.
Stocks inched higher ahead of the historic summit in Singapore. The Dow Industrials added 5 points, closing at 25,322. The NASDAQ Composite Index gained 14 points, and the S&P 500 was up almost 3.
So you want to hit a jewelry store?
Not exactly.
The diamond mine.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Or what? The Met.
In 3.5 weeks, the Met will be hosting its annual ball, and we are going to rob it. Lucky you. $16.5 million in each of your bank accounts 5 weeks from now. That's a lot.
And that was a clip from Ocean's 8, one of the newest movies to hit theaters. Should you steal away to the theater to see it, or is this one heist movie that fails? Here to let us know is our film critic, Will Loper. Hi, Will.
Hey, Mark.
Ocean's 8.
Ocean's 8.
All women?
All women. And I gotta say, it's more of the breezy, fun, caper-style movie we've come to know and love from the Ocean's movies. If you're a fan of the recent 3, you'll have a blast at this movie, too. So Sandra Bullock, Kate Blanchett, Rihanna, and more star as the thieves with $1 million plan. Sandra plays Debbie Ocean, sister of Danny Ocean, played by George Clooney in the other Ocean's movies. So Debbie, she's recently released from prison, puts together a team for her Met Gala heist. Now, from start to finish, the movie is just a joy to watch. If you've seen the other 3 Ocean's movies, you know what to expect. You've got a slick production, a tight script, a star-studded cast all having a blast with their roles, and a plot filled with twists and turns. So if you like these kind of caper movies, or heck, if you just like having fun at the movies, well, you're in luck here. Go see this film.
And they make the connection to the previous films.
Yes.
With the brother.
Yep. That's sort of that sibling connection, and you do see a couple cast members make cameos from the other ones, so that's
You know, I love the first couple. So.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And this is just, it's just nice, breezy fun at the movies.
So what's the rating?
I give this one 4. Where's Julia Roberts out of 5? She is one that does not make a cameo, and she would have been perfect.
Really?
Yeah.
That's too bad.
It's just
but that's not bad, 4 out of 5.
It's very good.
All right, up next, Hereditary.
My name's Annie. My mom died a week ago. She was a very private woman, and she wasn't altogether there at the end.
Hereditary. So this can be described in one word: intense. Okay, that's my review.
All right, thanks, Will.
Yeah, thanks. See you later. Just kidding. So Toni Collette, she's the mother of 2 children, Peter and Charlie. Now, something doesn't seem quite right about her daughter, Charlie. And indeed, as the movie progresses, we find out all kinds of dark, scary secrets. Now, this is a horror movie that deals with themes of grief, forgiveness, parenthood, and guilt. Now, the family drama is so well done that it makes the scares that much scarier when they come later in the film. And boy, does this movie scare. I say bring an extra pair of socks because mine got scared off and I could not find them in the theater. Also, Toni Collette, she knocks it out of the park. She's phenomenal. There's talk of Oscar buzz for her performance. It's kind of a long shot for horror since this is a horror movie, but I think she would more than deserve Best Actress for her work here.
This is that scary.
Yes, it does. I don't scare easily at movies, and this isn't one that just gives sort of cheap jump scares. This one gets under your skin and unsettles you. I had a hard time driving home at night. I say, like, see this in full daylight.
Really?
Yeah.
It's that intense?
Yeah, it is. Absolutely.
It seems to have affected you.
Yeah, I didn't sleep well last night, so.
Well, there's a reason to go to the movies. So what's the rating?
4.1. Toni Collette's out of 5. She's phenomenal. She's great.
I love her anyway.
Yeah.
And this is the first-time director, right?
Yes, first-time writer-director. So and he is amazing, and I look forward to seeing what they come up with next.
All right, it's just paint on the road, Will. It's not blood. All right.
Where was blood?
Next week,
Okay, we got Pixar out with their latest sequel, Incredibles 2.
Oh, that was fun the first time.
I know, I love the first one.
We'll see. Summer fun.
I'm looking forward to this, yeah.
All right, Will. Thank you.
Thank
See
you.
you next week. And there's more at 4. There's a new kind of cow's milk on the market that's promoted to be easier on the stomach. We'll find out more about it after Gary's forecast. Take a look at this. A meteorologist solves a Rubik's Cube while doing a live weather report. She was challenged here. Lauren Olsky showed off her skills on West Palm Beach TV station, the morning show. Her weather report took about 3 minutes, and she solved the famous puzzle in about 2.5 minutes. The segment was shared online and has already had over 225,000 views on Facebook. As it turns out, she's not the only multi-talented weather employee at WISC-TV. Not to be outdone, fellow meteorologist Kate Wensler joined in the fun by juggling during her weather segment. All right, Gary.
And now here's Gary.
Hey, I just finished it.
during the time it took to read that. Congratulations. That's it. I mean, it's hard enough to do the weather, you know, with the pointing and everything, and then to do a cube.
Yeah, that's talent. I profess to have none of that in my background.
Me either.
Well, welcome to Monday. It is June 11th. It is National Making Life Beautiful Day.
It's National German Chocolate Cake Day. You'd think it originated in Germany, right? No. Actually, an American, Sam German, came up with the recipe in 1852.
It's German chocolate cake.
German, yeah.
And it is National Corn on the Cob Day.
I love corn on the cob.
Corn was first domesticated by indigenous peoples in southern Mexico thousands of years ago. It migrated to DeKalb, Illinois, where I went to college, and I had the farthest room from campus, and looking out of my dorm window, all I could see is corn for miles and miles and miles, but I love this stuff.
I do too.
So it reminds you of your college days then.
It does, yes.
His corny college days.
My corny college days. And what do they say, knee high by the 4th of July? I think the corn is probably in pretty good shape if it's not in an area that's gotten too much rain recently, but we do have more heat and humidity. Yeah, we have more heat. Yeah. So I'll have to come up with some talent. So we'll have the first alert forecast in just a few minutes. You know, there's been a lot of talk about the Kilauea volcano in Hawaii, but the steamboat geyser in Wyoming has really been erupting with surprising regularity every 6 to 8 days. And this is after a period of quiet that lasted 3.5 years. A lot of these eruptions occurred at night or during times when the area was closed to visitors. But on June 4th, take a look at this show that the geyser put on. It began about 9:04 in the morning and lasted about 30 minutes, erupting to about 200 feet. Some of these geysers actually also pushed rocks about baseball size up with the water. So, I mean, that is quite a bit of activity from one geyser. Kind of puts Yellowstone to shame, but kind of interesting to see what Mother Nature has in store. Now, around here, Mother Nature has given us some clouds. You can see them kind of streaming in from the south, coming in from the west, because the upper level winds are not moving in the same direction as the lower level winds, which basically are out of the east right now. So we have drier, slightly drier near the ground. It's more humid over southwestern Wisconsin, and you can see that's where the thicker clouds are. But if you take a look at precipitation over the last 4 days, a swath of about 2 to 6 inches of rain fell from northeastern Iowa through Grant County down into north northwestern Illinois, whereas you go north and east of Madison up toward the Fox Valley, and very little rain fell there at all. Here in Madison, about an inch of rain, about 1 to 2 inches south and west of Madison, but those heavier amounts were over southwestern Wisconsin. Right now, Doppler track free of precipitation. That's good news. We don't need any more rain, but there are thunderstorms to the west up through Minnesota. Some severe thunderstorms starting to develop over parts of Iowa where a tornado watch is in effect until 11 p.m. But the severe weather threat stays out to the west of us for today, and for the next couple of days will also stay out to the west of us. Not looking for any severe weather for tomorrow or for Wednesday, which is good news. The air actually dries out for Wednesday, which gives us a break in the humidity. But temperatures will remain slightly above normal. Average high temperatures are in the upper 70s, from 77 to 79 over the next week, and our temperatures start out around 80 and get up to around 90 by Sunday. Even Monday, as a cold front comes through, we'll still see highs in the mid-80s, but we'll see shower and thunderstorm chances return at that time. Live view for the Queen Bee Radio Skycam in Platteville. You can see a little sun trying to peek through the clouds. The WISC Skycam looking out toward the southwest also shows mostly cloudy skies here. The Edgewater Skycam in downtown Madison shows the clouds thickening up over the downtown area. As we check out the almanac for today, so far our high temperatures only made it to 74, so that's 3 degrees below normal, but our low temperature of 60 is 5 degrees above average. Right now we're at 71 degrees with mostly cloudy skies. Winds are out of the east at 13 miles per hour. Dew point temperatures at 61, but that will creep up a bit overnight. Temperatures right now are a little warmer to our north where there's a little more sunshine. Temperatures close to 80 in Rhinelander, lower 70s here and then out to the west, 60s and 70s, but there's more cloud cover there and thunderstorms. Our winds right now are out of the east-southeast, so that's keeping lakeshore areas cooler. But inland, that wind also starting to push moisture up into Minnesota and Iowa, and that's where the severe weather threat has been higher. You can see these thunderstorms developing here. What happens is we have a split flow in the jet stream. Notice one part going like this, one part going like this. We call that diffluence, and that actually lifts the air up and helps make big thunderstorms. So this area here will erupt into severe thunderstorms. Southwesterly winds continue across the Pacific Ocean in the northern and southern branches of the jet stream, so that will continue temperatures at or slightly above normal into next week. A weak cold front to the west will actually drop the humidity a little bit, but probably won't drop temperatures too much. We'll be around 80 tomorrow and probably around 80 on Wednesday. The heat will stay to our south where temperatures are mainly in the 90s across Kansas and Missouri. Look at those dew point temperatures in the 70s as far north as Des Moines, Iowa. That's going to fuel the severe thunderstorm activity over the western portions of Iowa. So our forecast for tonight calls for most skies to become cloudy. It'll be mild. Could even see a little patchy fog late tonight. Thunderstorm chance also. Low temperature at 62. Tomorrow's high temperature at 80. A slight chance of a shower or thunderstorm. It'll be warm and humid during the day. For overnight hours, notice the skies turn cloudy. Just a slight chance of a shower or thunderstorm overnight. Some fog. Low temperatures lower 60s. Tomorrow, a slight chance of a shower or thunderstorm with high temperatures around 80. Once the cold front comes through, the threat for rain ends. We'll look for a low of about 60 by early on Wednesday morning. Wednesday, we're back to sunny skies and high temperatures. It'll still be around 80, but with less humidity. As we look at the 7 to 10-day forecast, those temperatures remain around 80 for a couple of days and then start warming up after that. Be upper 80s by Saturday and around 90 on Sunday. Heat index values are going to be somewhere between about 90 and 100 degrees. So I put alert days in the forecast for both Saturday and Sunday. Maybe a little bit of a break in the heat early next week with some thunderstorms Monday, but they return Wednesday and Thursday. That's a very typical summertime pattern that I'm going to be getting into next week.
Hot Father's Day.
I think so.
Yeah, get the grill out. You won't even have to light the charcoal.
Aren't you supposed to have Dad take it easy and have the kids grill?
Right.
Whatever you want, Dad.
You're in charge. Thanks, Gary.
Sure.
Dairy companies are pushing A2 milk, which is promoted as easier on the stomach.
The claim has its skeptics, but the bet is that consumers will pay extra to drink milk that doesn't cause gas and bloating.
Milk from these cows looks and tastes like traditional milk, but there's a difference. This milk lacks a common protein. Backers claim that makes it easier to digest for some people. Skeptics aren't so sure. Still, so-called A2 milk is showing up in supermarket coolers already jammed with almond milk, lactose-free milk, and organic options. Producers hope consumers will pay an extra $1 or more a half gallon for A2.
It contains only A2 protein in the milk, which makes it easier to digest.
The Ripley family farm in upstate New York retails its milk locally, but international companies are also involved. Nestle recently launched an A2 infant formula in China, and the Australian-based A2 Milk Company is pushing to expand its U.S. presence into the lucrative Northeast market. The milk's health claim is not about lactose, but about proteins. Most cows produce milk that contains both A1 and A2 proteins, but some cows naturally produce milk without the A1 protein. Proponents claim it's A1 that causes bloating and other symptoms for some people. Many scientists are not convinced. At Syracuse University, biology professor Margaret Voss said there is not enough evidence to draw conclusions.
There may be individuals that produce enzymes that cannot properly digest A1 milk, so it is plausible. But in terms of the science, right now, the level of the science is, it's just not where it needs to be. We just don't have those clinical trials.
In Buffalo, New York, James Rayberg switched to A2 at his cafe. He says he can pour it on cereal or add it to recipes without the problems he used to have.
I just realized how much better I felt, how much better my stomach felt.
Riley is a competitor to the far larger A2 milk company, but both claim they could help dairy farmers struggling with a long-term drop in milk drinking and slumping wholesale prices. Another entry in the crowded market for an alternative to traditional milk.
Any new market is good news for the Wisconsin dairy farmers.
Oh, absolutely. It'll be interesting to see if that takes off.
Yeah, and Eric Franke has a story tonight at 10 about reducing the gases that cows produce. So we're all about the dairy today.
Still to come at 4, the latest twist in self-driving cars.
There's actually a human behind the wheel. The difference is that wheel isn't in the car. That's coming up as Live at 4 rolls along. It's the polar bear cam at the Henry Violet Zoo. She's out taking a little dip on this nice Monday afternoon.
That's great. We got him.
There she goes.
Waymo, the self-driving car company owned by Google's parent company, is getting ready to roll out a fleet of self-driving taxis.
Those cabs will not be entirely without human drivers, even if the driver's miles away. Chris Van Cleve has the story.
Hey, welcome everybody. My name is Ben, and I will be your Phantom remote operator for this drive. I'll be monitoring your vehicle remotely.
Ben Shookman, our remote driver, is a few miles away in a Silicon Valley office.
For that, we'll be doing the drive.
California is one of at least 5 states allowing self-driving cars to be on the road without a safety driver if they have a system in place for a human to take over remotely. Phantom Auto doesn't build self-driving cars, but they're hoping their technology can come to the rescue of a confused autonomous vehicle. It uses cell phone signals and cameras already mounted to the vehicle, so a remote driver can take over in a situation where the car doesn't know what to do.
Say you come to a construction site and you have a construction worker giving hand signals.
Somebody flagging traffic. And
exactly. So the vehicle may approach that construction site and just completely be paralyzed. At that point, the vehicle itself would ping a Phantom Auto remote operator. The remote operator would be able to drive you through the construction site in the same way you could drive through a construction site today.
Federal regulations are stalled in Congress, leaving oversight largely to the states. Some are stricter than others. The self-driving Uber crash that killed a pedestrian in Arizona has prompted states to take a second look at their regulations, as the technology is not yet foolproof. You can think of the Phantom Auto service similar to something like OnStar, a remote help desk that would automatically link with the vehicle or the touch of a button for the passenger. You'd have a remote driver who could be the backup for multiple vehicles, leaving the backup plan for self-driving cars firmly in the hands of a human. Chris Van Cleve, CBS News, Washington.
I don't know.
Yeah.
One guy's running multiple cars?
Yeah, I don't understand how that, no.
Anyway, Nissan's working on a system where the autonomous vehicle would stop and wait for a remote user to draw a map around an obstacle. I don't know.
I'll just take the wheel myself.
I'm waiting for flying cars. Yes, we all
that
are.
would be fun. Candidate Donald Trump says nobody is a better deal maker than he is.
Well, our next guest, author of the upcoming book, The Real Trump Deal, disagrees with that. Our conversation when Live at 4 continues.
Well, as we take a look at first alert traffic, things were pretty nice at the top of the hour. Well, not so nice now. Here's the Beltline looking eastbound again at John Nolan Drive, and you see the traffic definitely slowing down there, whereas in the westbound direction, it's not too bad. Right now, we're seeing delays beginning around West Broadway, going back through Park Street and all the way back to Verona Road on the eastbound side. Westbound, not seeing any major delays. Traffic a little slow, but not too bad as you're heading through Fish Hatchery Road and out toward Verona Road. Some delays southbound into the construction zone on Highway 151, Verona Road, and also some delays on East Washington Avenue. As far as travel times are concerned, now a 25-minute commute eastbound from University Avenue to the interstate on the Beltline, but westbound only a 15-minute trip. If you're heading out of Madison, right now almost a half hour from the Beltline to Janesville on I-3990. It's 19 minutes out to Sauk City on US 12 and 18 minutes out to Sun Prairie on US 151 and East Washington Avenue. That's your first alert traffic.
Thanks, Gary. President Trump says he will know in the first minute how negotiations will go with North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un.
Our guest today has studied Donald Trump's negotiating skills, both as a businessman and as president. Marty Latz analyzed 100 Trump negotiations for his book, The Real Trump Deal, which will be published later this month, and we welcome him to Live at 4.
Marty, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
You have been studying and teaching negotiation for over 25 years, so the president must have been a rather interesting and good subject for your book.
Well, what's incredible about President Trump and then businessman Trump for almost 50 years is he's been transparent about what he's done, what moves he's made, and his counterparts have also been pretty transparent. He's been a public figure for almost that entire time, and in a really unique way, we actually now know what he did, what he didn't do, and what his counterparts did. So it was really an open book for me to evaluate, to study, and to match up his strategies with the experts' proven research. We actually know now, based on the research out there, what works and what didn't work.
And? What'd you find?
Well, I found that in his early deals, he actually was a very effective negotiator. Late 70s, early 80s, he did his homework, he did his due diligence, he was very creative in his use of leverage and aggressive goal setting. But in what he calls the go-go 80s, the banks were throwing money at him, and he was throwing money at his counterparts. He overpaid by tens of millions of dollars for the Trump shuttle. He overpaid by tens of millions of dollars for the Plaza Hotel in New York, and he really hasn't gotten that same skill level. He's continued to do it instinctively or intuitively from his gut, but he hasn't really done his homework, and that has led to serious and systemic problems in his negotiations for the past almost 30 years.
So he says that he can feel things in the first minute. Is that a thing?
Well, when you say is it a thing, you know, I'm certainly first impressions have a disproportionate impact on negotiators. And he will certainly get a gut feeling. The problem with going with your gut is it doesn't necessarily really give you the type of strategic sense and the type of strategic negotiation plan that you really should have, especially when life and death and the security and safety of millions of people is at stake. That's what concerns me.
Yeah, we're not talking about vodka here. We're talking about a country with nuclear weapons.
And not only do they have nuclear weapons, but they have the ability to deliver it. Potentially all the way to the U.S. mainland. And we have a 30-something dictator who has been schooled in these strategies and techniques for quite some time. And that has been proving problematic for his summit right now, because you have seen actually some pretty effective negotiation moves by North Korea and some pretty ineffective ones, unfortunately, from President Trump and his team for the United States.
The president, when he was a candidate, he said, I am the deal maker. You know, I should be in there. Well, government's different than business.
Government is significantly different in business. And in fact, there is a chapter in my book on the top 10 differences between President Trump's business negotiations and President Trump's negotiations or any kind of presidential negotiations. And the problem is, in many ways, they actually require diametrically opposed strategies and tactics. Just to give you one example, in business, President Trump, then businessman, billionaire Trump, was the decider-in-chief. He could decide what to do, what not to do. He could make the decision. He really didn't have to consult with anyone. Well, as President of the United States, you have 535 members of Congress. Whatever deal he does with members of Congress or even with a foreign country, it may need to be ratified by Congress. He has allies. He's already thrown some of his allies that he needs for this deal under the bus. You'll remember when he canceled the summit, he did not, before canceling the summit, alert South Korea. He did not alert Japan. He significantly embarrassed them in this negotiations. They're the ones on the front lines. They all need to be on the same page. We haven't seen that type of sophisticated negotiation management from President Trump that certainly I would have liked to see up to this point with the stakes on the table in this negotiation.
What was your #1 takeaway after analyzing President Trump and his negotiations?
The biggest takeaway is that he negotiates instinctively or intuitively. Sometimes his instincts in the past have been very effective. Sometimes they've been very ineffective. He doesn't do his homework anymore. If you don't do your homework, if you don't do your preparation, if you really don't understand the nitty-gritty and the back and forth, you're going to make strategic mistakes. And when the stakes are so high, that can be a fatal error.
Life and death.
Life and death. That's right.
Interesting. I can't wait for the book to come out, Marty. It's a pleasure to see you. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you so much.
And we'll be right back with the final check of your forecast. Take a nice walk this evening. Nice out.
Yeah, it is still a little humid. You notice that out there, but we'll see a break in the humidity, especially for Wednesday and Thursday. See, I just killed your walk. There you go. Thunderstorms, though, not a problem for tonight. They're staying out to the west of us. There's a tornado watch over western Iowa, but you can see nothing really close to southern Wisconsin. So, yes, you don't need to bring an umbrella if you do take the walk. Temperatures right now in the lower to middle 70s, a little cooler to the east with a breeze off of Lake Michigan. But otherwise, look for temperatures to drop off into the lower to middle 60s by tomorrow morning. Maybe a little patchy fog, just a slight chance of a shower or thunderstorm later tonight, and then a chance for a shower or thunderstorm, especially tomorrow afternoon. High temperature around 80, but if you like the heat and humidity, wait for the weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be a hot one. All right, Gary, thank you.
You're welcome.
Tomorrow and live at 4, it's time to pack up the kids and hit the open road.
Consumer Reports has just released its Guide to the Ultimate Road Trip, helping you travel like a pro. Just in time for your summer getaway. That's coming up tomorrow.